There we go.
Welcome to day 3 of the Jarvis tour. Thank you, Jarvis, and all of our guides. We are heading up into the volcano today, and as you can see, it is a beautiful sunny day, nice, crisp, warm air. And we have the most extreme day out of all 3, so do stay tuned to see the intensity of this ride. We have a complexity of high mountain passes, deep ravines, large boulders, valley crossings through river, and beautiful open terrain. One of the most majestic views that you will ever see. There are some wonderful rewards along the way. A lot of locals that you come across that are up in the mountains. You have a lot of farmers, livestock, animals. A lot of these farmers are raising cows, raising chickens, goats, and other animals. You see horses. Obviously, when you're riding, you don't want to scare the animals. The other side is the locals are allowing Jarvis to go ahead and operate on their land privately. As you notice through a lot of the videos, they're opening and closing these gates for us. We did make one stop where we opened a gate and we took a break for a second, and a local farmer came up to us and said, look, last time you guys came through here, you guys didn't close the gate, and it caused a lot of problems for me later with some of the animals getting out.
Yeah, that was a hot spring road for sure.
The company, Jarvis, made it very clear, look, we definitely close these gates. We have somebody in the front, we have somebody in the back. When I cross through, I open it up and the tail will come through and close the gates. Apologize if something happened, but definitely it was not from our riding community. We want to make sure that we do our best to take care of everybody's land and continue to allow us to ride on these properties in the future, because they're very cordial to allow us to do this, and we want to keep these wonderful relationships that we have. As we got into that mountainous area heading up towards the volcano, it was basically just thin, narrow, single trails, climbing up through deep ravines, wider double trails. Everything was just large boulders, large rocks. What you could see is an uneven surface with large ruts where the roads just wash out with rain as they come through. So it just makes it really challenging climbing up all these surfaces. So this was basically the terrain all the way up until we reached the top of the mountainside. I don't know if they're coming down or going up. The higher up that we go into the volcano, the more you start to notice a thick red dirt. And that red dirt is very, very suspicious. It's one of those dirts where it's extremely dry and hard packed if there's a little bit of rain that can allow it to compress, but it can also be very powdery and dry and soft, which allows you to spin a lot and some of the rock to break loose. And that happens as it starts to dry out from too much sun. Come on, baby.
That's a fun trail. Those rocks just floating. Yeah.
On the other hand, what happens is that if they get too much rain, then you start to see that turn into a red clay. And as soon as you see a glossy glaze right on top of that clay, then you know immediately at that point you're losing all traction. The same thing you could see in day 1 and day 2 as we're trying to climb. That red surface just turns into a slippery mud. You have no ability to get in and out except for spinning the tires and trying to maintain your balance. It's definitely a very challenging terrain in all climates, unless you're getting just a very good pack that comes down from a very light rain and a hardening. What you'll notice a lot of the time is we actually kill the engines on the motorcycle to come down the hill. And the reason is it's actually easier to control a bike with the engine off. You still have full control of your brakes. Most of the time, predominantly, you're using your back brake, but very, very faintly on the front. If you use too much of the front, then the front can actually wash out because the terrain is so loose from whether it's gravel or dirt or dust, and you lose control of the bike. That allows us to control the bike better at higher speeds coming down and not to have the compression of the motor start to lock up the rear tire and lose control as you're riding down the hill. Brutal.
Yeah. This is a good one.
All right, Addy flipped his bike. He is backwards.
Okay. I think leaving gear to get it straight up and down like a wheelie at balance point. It's just
Holy crap. We gotta get that thing up.
We're trying to kill ourselves. Go to a wheelie and we'll spin it all the way thing from that way instead of back down. Yeah. We're gonna kill ourselves trying to lift that. We might need a hand. We might have to get up to this step first. I'm fucking, you know, need gas right now.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
you can't park there, bro.
There we go. Now, put it first and we just wheelie it and rotate it, right? And we can try to get the front tire up here. Ready? There we go. That's what I was saying. Let's just fucking wheelie it and spin it that way.
Okay. There you go, just drag it in.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go, that's awesome.
Yeah, remember this point, power hard to get you up so you don't fucking go backwards into here to get to the spot here. You know, fucking hammer down right here to get at least up a little bit. If you just go to there, you're probably gonna slide backwards in there. Try to do speed and then
What? Okay, I think your
go
main
forward.
problem is right here.
Momentum.
We just came up one of the nastiest ravines or ruts coming up the hill, and it's time for a reward break. All the guys are chilling.
We got no cartel here.
No?
We got some video. We'll show you on the DJI, but
this is nice.
this is rough. Way better than yesterday. Very intense.
Fuck.
Victory! The leg injury basically came from lifting the motorcycle. We were basically traversing the ridges, moving to the left at 45 degrees up the hill, and then it made an immediate sharp right. And the only way that you could make that turn was to lift the front end of the bike and move it from the left facing path to the right facing path. So at that point, I had popped the bike up, moved it to the right so I could start traversing the right. But the front tire did not line up with the back tire. The objective at that point was to try to get off the bike and lift the rear side of the bike back up onto the trail. Unfortunately, my legs were uneven as we're sitting on an angle of the hill. Ow! I had lifted so hard that I actually hyperextended my knee, and that was the right leg that I actually felt that one. I've never had any injuries on my legs at all, anything outside of cramping issues that I have in the past. So to me, it was a new experience. As I hyperextended it, I felt a pinch or a pop. It was a sharp instant pain, but it didn't remain consistent. It just felt all of a sudden loose. Felt something click in my knee. I hope we're okay. I finally reached the top of the ridge. We had stopped on the bikes, and there was some local farmers that were sitting on the right, and everybody was pretty exhausted.
Close, it's close.
As you can see in the video, I start to kind of extend my leg and feel that there's something just not right, and there's something loose that's inside of it. I just figured I had to continue to ride to see how it would play out and see whether I had to stop riding or take a break. What I realized was if I was standing with all my pressure fully extended, that knee felt really weak. As long as my knee was slightly bent, I was able to have pressure on it. I could still carry all my weight. I could still maintain consistent power, lift myself up and off the bike if necessary to get along without any major swelling or pain issues. From that point, I knew I was just going to carry forward for as long as I could on this trip. The only time I would have an issue is if I was concerned about losing my balance and I would put my legs down and I had to fully extend that knee. I knew that I wouldn't be able to have the strength, so I just had to be extra cautious on how I was handling each situation. Without any pain and any swelling, I didn't feel an urgent need to go to a hospital in Panama. I figured if I can still get through this ride and be able to walk, even with a limp, which I definitely did have, and I had my knee wrapped as well to keep some support on it. But I figured at this point, I just wanted to get back to the US and to be able to get checked out at a local hospital where I have insurance and things like that, that would be able to take care of me from here. I just did not want to take any more time out from the ride and lose the opportunity to finish this ride. It's one of those things where you just want to finish and complete it and not duck out early. So the objective was definitely just to get it done and be a proud finisher despite my physical conditions. It's all right, slow and steady.
That out there is the volcano. We on the Volcancito, is a smaller one. Apparently it was even taller than 11,000 feet before. They used to have snow. When it erupted, it actually blew the top off. And then later they found actually pieces of a village buried within the debris that says that there was an indigenous tribe up on the top. I tried to pull my motorcycle up the ridge. I had a click on my knee, so it's hopefully we have nothing wrong. But we're gonna keep moving. So far, so good. We're down here at the swimming hole. We have taken a break just before lunch. This place is incredible. You can see this whole river runs all the way through, and you could jump off down into the lagoons down below. So we're gonna let all the gear dry out here. As you can see, it is soaking wet from all the sweat and riding. Bikes are just chilling, and the boys are ready to ride.
The swimming hole was a freshwater river through the valley. It's all volcanic rock. The more the river would flow through, the more it would erode the walls of the rock and make it deeper and deeper and deeper. But it was just such a gem of a spot to swim. We were sitting at the table and I said to Juan Felipe, I said, hey, so tell me a little bit about what we have for the rest of the day. Everybody was under the impression that we were gonna have something easy. It was always the mornings were the hard part, and then the easy part was on the second half of the day. And then he looks at us and says, well, the rest of the day is just like the first. We just felt more defeated at that point. It was like, all right, well, let's get this going.
Right here, pretty flat. But just be very careful, okay? Try to follow my line, okay?
After lunch, we wound up heading back on to the second half of the mountain. And it was more consistent of the same type of terrain. It was just narrow trails, large boulders, a little bit better vegetation, and a little bit more trees. So it was able to be a little bit cooler for us riding. We weren't just melting in the sunshine. Regardless, it was definitely very physical still, and we just wanted to make through the rest of that day without any injuries at that point.
Dude, that was dangerous as shit, man.
We kind of traversed at an angle, going through different valleys and crossing different rivers, a horizontal trajectory across the volcano. You could definitely see the terrain change. The topography changes. The higher up you go, you get more of the dry red clay. And then as you started to come down a little bit farther, the ground would be a little bit darker. A lot of the trees usually would be a lot thicker with a lot more vegetation just because of the change of exposure of sunlight, and it would allow more moisture to go ahead and accumulate in those areas. Everybody's really, really physically exhausted and beat.
I'm going this way. I'm gonna save my fucking knee. Right?
That one. Our line to the left.
Howdy, guys. They look so excited to see us.
No entertainment all week.
I almost kissed your ass. A few more hours and it was basically a clear path on a nice paved road that took us directly into the final landing, which was Bella Vista Hacienda Horizonte, and it was just this beautiful, large, white, hotel-looking building overlooking the whole valley. It was something really unique to see. Victory!